I've been in a creative rut. My production clients have stopped coming in as consistently. I moved to a city where I know almost nobody, and I don't feel the inspiration I once did to keep writing and making music. But I knew that that rut was only as big as I let it be, and that the only cure for the anxiety I was feeling was action. So I set out to do something difficult to reignite my passion for creation, to inspire me once again to pursue the thing that fuels me up more than anything else in the world, making music. I decided I was going to write 100 songs in 30 days. It almost broke me, but it also changed the way I write music forever. Okay, so it's Monday, March 31st, and it officially marks day one of this challenge. I'm really excited to start this. I think it's going to be challenging. I think it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be a journey, but I think I'm going to learn a lot along the way. I hope to look back on this time and be grateful that I chose to do this and not dread the remaining 29 days. But I guess it's time to start writing some of these songs. I started out excited, but like with any goal, the easiest time to hike is when you first start the climb. The mountain never seems so tall until you're halfway up, and this mountain ended up being a lot taller than I thought. To get up to the top, I was gonna need some strong reasons why it'd be worth it in the first place. So I've got my goals laid out, but I'd be lying if I said that reigniting my creativity was the only reason I wanted to attempt this challenge. Reason one, you already know. It's to get over this creative and life rut that I found myself in. Next up, will writing another 100 songs in addition to the thousands of songs I've already written make me a better songwriter? Question 3. Can I write a hit song? If I write 100 songs, 1 or 2 of them is bound to be really good, right? Right. And the last reason would be, can I find my sound? I've created music for years, but I've always struggled to find the music that I want to release. The music that feels the most authentic to who I am as a person. This might be the most important thing on this entire list, and I'm hoping that this challenge can shed some light on it. And with a solid why, I was ready to begin my journey. The first few days started off solidly. I was inspired by the excitement of a new challenge, and I had a good outline of what I needed to get done to finish the 30 days with 100 songs. If I wrote an average of around 3 songs per day, I would be able to hit my goal. So that's what I focused on. It made the first initial songs really easy, but that easiness wouldn't last long. During the songwriting, I stuck to a workflow that's worked for me for years. Chords first on piano, guitar, or straight into the DAW. Then I'd brainstorm some lyrical themes and hum melodies over it. After that, I recorded everything as voice notes or used Apple Notes to write my lyrics down. It's messy, but it worked. Mostly. Look at all these songs I have. None of them are organized whatsoever, but the most important thing is I recorded all of them and I have them so they don't get lost in the ether. This lack of organization would turn out to be a giant pain in the ass later. And with my system set up, the days started to blend together and the songs came pouring out. Sometimes the ideas flowed like water, and other times this process would take hours to write even one song, which is about what I expected. Typically, on top of all the other things I was doing in a day, writing 3 songs would take me anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. And although I was spending those hours improving my craft and being creative, it wasn't long before the cracks in my plan started to emerge. By day 10, I had written 30 songs. Everything was going according to plan. But the excitement of the new challenge had worn off, and I was feeling like I needed a quick break. So day 11, I took one. I told myself that I needed a day or 2 to reset and let my brain recharge its creative juices. But deep down, I knew I was just avoiding the challenge. That one break turned into a week, then 2. And then all of a sudden, I had 10 days left and still needed to write 70 songs. Thinking that was way too much to overcome, I decided to quit the challenge. I was ashamed, I was disappointed, and I was well short of my goal. But if you thought one attempt was enough to stop me, then you thought wrong. One day, after deciding that there was no way I was going to complete the initial challenge, I decided to restart it. Part of me dreaded spending more time in my day towards writing songs again, but I knew I had to show up if I wanted the answers to the questions still burning in my brain. And this time, I had a trick up my sleeve that I thought would practically guarantee me success. It's time for round 2, and I'm gonna do something kind of crazy. I found this website online called Beeminder that lets me wager money on the goals I bet for myself. After finding it, I decided to wager $500 that I would complete this challenge the second time around. Yeah. This is all based on the honor system. I could easily cheat the system and lie, but I think just the thought of having or losing $500 on there is enough to spur me, to remind me that I actually do want to do this. And if losing $500 isn't enough to do this challenge, then maybe I just don't do this at all. I was gonna wager $500 that I would do this challenge. Money I didn't have on a goal that I really wanted. But this was less about the money I bet and more about the other reasons I started this journey, like reigniting my spark, improving my craft, and finding my sound. This crazy idea finally gave me a solution for the biggest variable in the challenge, me. And I was gonna need all the help I could get to finish it. So I started the challenge again. This attempt felt different, and not just because of the money I've wagered. I used what I learned from the first attempt to radically shift my approach to the entire process. I gave up the thought of writing a hit song in the first place. I was writing to express myself. I was writing to do the damn thing and push my creative limits. And when I shed that idea of perfectionism, the entire process changed. The first week went by and I actually enjoyed it. But that wasn't the only shift I had. I also let myself be more free in the songs I wrote. Yes, I was looking for my sound, but the pressure I was putting on myself to find it only kept it more hidden. I stopped caring about my sound and instead decided to let it find me. 2 weeks went by and I was writing Irish jigs. Rack them up at the old town bar. R&B pop ballads. Baby, can we press rewind? Start over and do this right. Cowboy country. So I'll keep sipping down this acid till my lungs don't work and the feeling passes. And everything in between. And I was having a blast doing it. That is, until week 3. Well, I need a break. 3 weeks came and I hit another speed bump. I needed a break, another day to recharge my creative batteries. So I took it. But I wasn't gonna let this break slide into 2 weeks like it did the first time. Oh no, this time I was gonna finish off the task. Even after my break, my brain wasn't firing on all cylinders, but I had planned for this. It was time to play my trick card. Knowing at some point during this challenge my creative well of ideas might run dry, I prepared a list of songwriting exercises I could use whenever I felt writer's block rear its ugly head. There were 8 exercises I've collected over the past years to help guide my pen to write, and they absolutely did. I provided them in the description as a free download if you want to check them out and use them to jumpstart your own songs. Week 3 came and went, and between the looming thought of losing $500, songwriting exercises to beat writer's block, and a newfound enjoyment of writing, it flew by. Before I knew it, there were 4 days left, and I was in a bit of a predicament.
It is Sunday. I have 4 days left in the challenge, and I am currently walking. I had a buddy who was leaving town last night, and we went out, stayed up all night. I don't want to write any songs, but I do need to get, what is it? I have like 20 more to do in 4 days. So there's no options. I mean, I'm just gonna have to do it. Yeah, a quick update for you.
But what's a challenge without being challenging? I continued working and wrote the remaining songs I needed to until I found myself on the last day needing to only write 2 more songs. It is officially May 23rd. It is 9 o'clock, and this challenge is almost over. I have been diligent. I have been working hard. I've been, more than anything, writing songs. Earlier this morning, I wrote 2 songs. I had a total of 4 songs to write today to complete this challenge. That means I just need song number 99 and song number 100, and I will have written 100 total songs in a month. That is crazy to think about, that I've written that many songs, and it feels like the time has flown by. So, yeah, let's write these last 2 songs.
I tattooed on my eyelids. Working hard is getting tiring. Oh, I got what I wanted to get. It's indeed.
I am tired. I am gonna reevaluate. I'm gonna come back to this. I'll talk more about this whole process tomorrow. So now that it's over, how do I feel about those questions that inspired this challenge in the first place? Question 1, did I get out of my rut? I feel 100% night and day different creatively than I did when I started this, yes. Question number 2, did my songwriting get any better? Now, this one surprised me a bit because I've already written thousands of songs before this. I didn't think that adding another 100 would increase my skill level. But I did find myself reaching for more complex melodies and more interesting chord progressions than I normally would. So I'm gonna say, yeah, I did. Next, did I write anything worth keeping? Absolutely, and I've tracked some interesting data about all the songs I wrote that I want to show you. For every song I wrote, I recorded the date I wrote it, the genre, the method I used to record it, and then I rated it on a scale of 1 to 5 based on how good I thought it was. 25 of those 116 songs were 5s, songs I would absolutely produce.
Baby, don't you know that a heart breaks badly when we both know that we're both unhappy?
47 were solid 4s or 4.5s.
3 sips, 4 songs. Our first kiss didn't take long. Yeah, we took all the back of the bar.
And only 44 were a 3 or lower. If you want to hear more of what those 5s sound like, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm going to be posting every single one on there. Now, I may be biased in these rankings, and there's a pretty heavy skew towards 4s and 5s, but I think that there's an easy explanation for that. As I'm writing songs, I don't normally finish songs that I don't like. If there's something I dislike about a song during the process, I would just change it until I did enjoy it. For that reason, I think a lot of these are better rather than worse. Of course, that's totally subjective, but I think that's why the numbers are like they are. Out of all of the songs I wrote, 25 were produced in my DAW. This was the most time consuming, which is why it was the least. 52 were made on the guitar, and 39 were made on the piano. For genres of songs that I write, I consider myself a pop songwriter, so a lot of these extra genres are just offshoots of that, but the majority was pop, but I also had some country, some soul, and some rock songs thrown in there. After writing all of these songs, I thought that I would see a correlation between what method I used to write them and the quality of the songs themselves. Same with the genre. I thought that the songs that I produced in a DAW would generally be better than the other songs. And honestly, that's just not the case. I wrote good songs on all of the instruments and in all of the genres. And after all that, did I find my sound? Now, I don't know if I'll ever actually find quote unquote my sound, but I'm closer than I ever have been. The songs I wrote during this challenge felt more like me than almost any other music I've ever done. But all of those goals paled in comparison to some of the other more valuable lessons I learned. The first lesson I learned was that my ego kills creativity. Every time I told myself that this song is the one, this song has to be perfect, I froze. The truth is, perfect doesn't exist, and chasing it made me miserable. Ironically enough, it wasn't until I gave up trying to write something amazing that I actually did. The next thing I learned is that inspiration is overrated. Out of the 100 songs I wrote during this challenge, maybe 4 of them came from bursts of inspiration. The rest came because I showed up. My songs didn't magically appear out of thin air from fairy dust. They happened because I put pen to paper every day, or text, or I put it in my iPhone. They came from hard work. They came from showing up consistently every day. And the last lesson that I learned is that the journey is the reward. Yeah, it felt good to finally finish that 100th song, but you know what felt almost equally as good? Those moments of bliss I found myself in when I found a unique chord progression, or when I found the lyric that fit perfectly. The more that I wrote, the more I realized that this challenge wasn't about hitting some arbitrary number. It was about getting back to actually enjoying the process of creation in the first place. And out of everything I've discovered on my journey, I think this is the one that's going to impact my music making the most. I wrote 100 songs in 30 days, and somewhere in that unorganized mess of voice notes, I found something that felt like me. But now they're just sitting there, unfinished, unheard, and part of me keeps wondering, what would happen if I tried this challenge again, but this time with production? In theory, I could take the best 30 songs I wrote and produce one of them every day for 30 days. It would be 5 times harder than this challenge I just did, and completely crazy, and there's probably no way I'd ever be able to do it. But maybe the craziest ideas are the only ones worth pursuing.